Picture this. It's 1907. Wall Street is in complete panic. Banks are failing left and right. The entire American economy is about to collapse. And one man, not the government, not the Congress, one man stops it all from his library with a handshake and his word alone. And you know that man? That man is J.P. Morgan. And today, I'm cracking open his mental operating system to show you exactly how he thought, decided, and built an empire so powerful that he literally became America's unofficial central bank. Welcome to Dynasty Designers, where I reverse engineer the minds of history's greatest empire builders. And today, I'm diving deep into the mental models of John Pierpont Morgan, the banker who didn't just build wealth. He built the foundation of modern American capitalism. So here's what makes this different. I'm not just going to tell you Morgan's story. I'm extracting his exact decision-making frameworks, his people filters, his crisis playbooks that you can use today. So, whether you're a founder looking to scale, an investor hunting opportunities, or just someone who wants to think like a dynasty builder, the next 20 minutes will change how you see business forever. And the first is JP Morgan's approach for his core principles and values. But what JP Morgan truly valued is something that people didn't think of. Let's start with something most people get wrong about successful people. And they think it's about money. Well, it's not. Morgan had one quote that reveals everything. A man I do not trust could not get money from me on all the bonds in Christendom. Think about that. This guy controlled more money than most countries, but his number one filter wasn't wealth, wasn't connections, wasn't even competence. It was character. He would literally write $1,000,000 check. This is in 1900s. Money worth, that's a lot of money compared to today. Now he would write checks to someone he trusted, even if they were broke. But if he didn't trust you, you could offer him the crown jewels and he'd say no. So here's a takeaway for you. Before you look at someone's resume, their track record, or their bank account, ask yourself, do I trust this person's character? Morgan built an empire on this single filter. But here's the second thing he valued, and that most entrepreneurs miss: order over profits. Morgan hated what he called savage competition. You know, that startup mentality of move fast and break things? Morgan would have called that insane. He believed fierce competition led to corruption, confusion, waste, and loss. His goal wasn't to beat competitors. It was to bring them together for what he called peaceful, orderly, and profitable development. Now, your plan, your next time, how does this apply to you? Well, next time you're facing competition, instead of trying to destroy them, ask Morgan's question: how can we organize this chaos into something more profitable for everyone? Now, filter number 2. What was his approach when it comes to the people hiring? Well, JP Morgan built an incredible team. And here's where Morgan gets really interesting. In an age where rich guys only hung out with other rich guys, Morgan did something radical. He hired for brains, not bank accounts. His approach was pure meritocracy. He found brilliant specialists like Charles Coaster, who could handle incredible complex financial details, and Samuel Spencer, who knew everything about railroads. Now here's the kicker. Once he trusted you, he gave you what he called his full faith with few questions. Imagine having a boss, once they trust you, basically says, go run with it. Now, this framework, Morgan's hiring had 3 steps. Okay. 1, test for character. Find specialized brilliance. Second, once both check out, give a complete autonomy. Now, most leader they do is they micromanage people and they don't fully trust. Morgan's way built loyalty and unleashed talent. Now, what was JP Morgan's decision making framework and mental model? Well, now here's where Morgan's mental model gets fascinating. During the 1907 financial panic. Imagine 2008, but worse. While everyone else was running around screaming, what was JP doing? He was playing solitaire. No joke. While bank presidents begged him for help, while the entire financial system hung in the balance, JP Morgan sat in his library, playing cards, listening to everyone but saying almost nothing. Why? Because he understood something most people don't. Great decisions are made with more data. They're made with better filters. Morgan was described as having no gift for sustained analysis. His genius was in the brief, sudden brainstorm. He focused on the big picture, what he called the totals, and left details to his team. So here's your decision-making upgrade. When facing a big decision, try JP Morgan's method. Gather all the information, let your trusted team handle the details, then step back and let your intuition process the big picture and make the call quickly once you see the pattern. Now, let's move on to the next part, which is learning from failure. When JP Morgan screwed up, his biggest mistake reveals something crucial about successful people thinking. He had a sentimental attachment to New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad because his grandfather had helped start it. So he trusted his manager, Charles, way too much. Didn't check the details, and the railroad racked up massive debt and literally had train crashes. The lesson, even Morgan's superpower, trusting people based on character, became his weakness when emotion got involved. But here's what separates dynasty builders from everyone else. Morgan didn't make the same mistake twice. After this, he developed better systems for oversight, even with trusted people. Now, your failure framework is when you fail, ask Morgan's 2 questions. What strength of mine became a weakness here? And what system can I build so this strength doesn't blind me again? Now, we move on into the next part. What is his growth engine, scalability, how he scaled? Well, here's the mental model that made Morgan the most powerful financier in history. He saw opportunity in chaos. While other bankers avoided struggling industries, Morgan stepped in like what he called a reliable doctor to sick railroads. His systematic approach: find a fragmented, chaotic industry, identify the core problem causing the chaos, reorganize and consolidate to solve that problem. That's $1 billion formula right there if you haven't noticed. This will create lasting systems so the problem doesn't come back. This is how he also built U.S. Steel, the world's first $1 billion corporation. He didn't just buy steel, and this is $1 billion in the 1900s. He didn't just buy steel companies. He integrated the entire steel supply chain from iron ore mines to finished products. Now, how does this apply to you? Well, look for industries that seem broken or chaotic. That's where the biggest opportunities hide. The key is being the person who brings order, not just competing in the chaos. Now, let's move on to his leadership. What is his approach when it comes to leadership? But first, I have to go back to 1907 because Morgan's crisis playbook is pure gold. When the panic hit Wall Street, Morgan didn't just react. He took command like a general arriving at an army headquarters. His method: stay calm while everyone else panics. Gather information from all sources, but keep your thinking private. Focus on the systematic solution, not just individual problems. Now, make others part of the solution. Don't just try to save everything yourself. The brilliant part is that he didn't just bail everyone out. He forced other banks to use their own reserves. He made them a part of the solution. This leadership genius in a crisis don't just solve the problem. They teach others to solve it with you. Now, this is the master class. How does J.P. Morgan negotiate? J.P. Morgan negotiation style was legendary, but it wasn't what you would expect. He didn't talk much. He didn't argue. His power move was creating what I call no exit situations. So here's an example. When railroad executives couldn't agree on territories, J.P. Morgan invited them to his yacht. And then he basically said, "We're not leaving until this is solved." During the U.S. Steel deal, when John Gates was hesitating, Morgan stood up and said, "I'm leaving in 10 minutes. Accept my offer or we'll build our own plant." Morgan's negotiation principles: create urgency, deadlines, make saying no more painful than saying yes. Use your reputation as leverage, and more importantly, be willing to walk away. Now, what was JP Morgan's information diet? I bet you haven't heard that one before. Who looks at information diet? Well, that's very important to understanding a person. Now, here's something that most people miss about successful leaders. It's not about consuming more information. It's about filtering better. JP surrounded himself with specialists who could handle details, but he had zero tolerance for what he called unsafe hands or shifty people. His information diet was simple: trust specialists for deep expertise, ignore noise from politicians and populists, focus on proven methods over trendy new ideas. Now, make decisions based on patterns, not data points. And interestingly, while JP embraced new technologies that could make money, like electricity, his own office was old-fashioned and slow to adopt things like typewriters. He separated innovation that mattered from innovation that was just flashy. Now, the exit strategy. What is his legacy blueprint? JP Morgan's endgame wasn't just building wealth. It was building systems that would outlast them. He famously said, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced," and gave away massive amounts to public libraries because he loved reading as a child. But more importantly, he spent years preparing his son Jack to take over, ensuring his systems and relationships would continue. Now, here's your legacy question for you. Morgan asked himself, what system am I building that will work without me? Now, closing your Morgan Mental Model Toolkit, and that is a wrap. Okay? We just covered his mental models that you can steal from the world's greatest financier, J.P. Morgan. A few of them that we covered are the character filter, trust first, everything else second. The order principle, organize chaos instead of competing in it. The crisis playbook, stay calm, think systematically. Make others part of the solution. The scaling formula, find fragmented industries and consolidate them. his information diet specialist for details, intuition for big decisions, and his legacy test build systems that work without you. Now, here's what I want you to do. Pick one of these mental models and apply it this week. Whether it's just using the character filter in your next hire or looking for your chaos you can organize in your industry. Because here's what I've learned. Studying dynasty builders like Morgan, they don't succeed because they're smarter than everyone else. They succeed because they think differently than everyone else. And now you know how. Until next time, keep designing your dynasty. And before I leave, subscribe, and somewhere on the screen, I have covered John D. Rockefeller's mental models and decision-making framework. Click somewhere around the screen to watch that video. I guarantee you that you will find it very, very valuable. And see you next time. Peace.